Welcome to More Than Mindset, the only podcast that bridges the gap between spirituality and success. Go beyond the mind with clarity and confidence coach Kim Guillory and learn how to integrate your passion to serve with your skills and experience to create a business you love. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome. We are continuing with the Believing Better series. My guest today is Brittany Pressnull. Is it? No, I always say Presnull, but I don't think that's correct. Say it.
Presnull.
Presnull. It's almost like personal.
Yeah.
We are talking about her experience with using the self-healing model and how her life has changed in the past 3 years, 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
almost 3.
Almost 3. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do.
So I am Brittany Pressnull, and I'm from Jennings, Louisiana. And I'm a massage therapist going on 8 years this year. And I've just been staying busy with that. And I've, of course, been learning the different models to be able to self-heal, to be able to implement it in my business, and to be able to use it across the board for now coaching. And so it's just been a lot of things going on right now.
Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, what brought you to this work. So you were already a massage therapist, mm-hmm. and you had an interest in learning what or changing what? What did your life look like before?
Before, I was just winging it, taking a bunch of different classes. I liked meeting new people, so I would always go to in-person continuation classes for massage. And so I was always looking for the next modality to heal that person. So I was, learning the new technique, if it was, whatever it was. And I just happened to look into stretching, which was the Thai class that came up. And I was like, okay, let me just try this out. And then, I don't know, I was just really almost on the edge of finding a different job, going back into the regular 9 to 5 or just a predictable income. Because I was very unpredictable. I felt like I needed to make more, but couldn't give up more time. And so it was just really getting monotony. Like it just felt like it was not going to get any better. So then, with each technique, it just really opened the door. I thought it was going to be the thing to help make more money.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you were a massage therapist, you did have clients, but you continued to run into the problem of not having sustainability or predictability in your massage business. So what did it actually look like at that time, like the business? Because what I'm hearing you say is when things would get kind of quiet and unsustainable, that you would go and grab the next new thing so that you could market and promote that, because maybe that would be the thing that created this sustainability. Is that correct?
Right. So with me always trying to wing it, that would come with thinking the new fad, the new talk about, the new thing that was, sorry, my sense of eyes all of a sudden, just always looking for the next thing that was going to help, boost my client income and make them consistent, make them just on their own want to start coming without me having to do too much.
So approximately how much money were you making as a massage therapist back then? You said it's inconsistent, but like an average, what were you expecting a week or a month?
Monthly, I was making about $2,500, $2,500 on a good month, $3,000. And that was literally, I would be open for business almost all day, but it was hit and miss. I'd have 2 this week or 10 this week, or it was just hit and miss. I didn't really have a goal.
So you had weeks where it was like white space, where you're just sitting there and your mind is like, we got to go figure out something else to sell.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And for your clients, was gaining the new modalities the answer to sustainability? Like, did that make them more consistent? Did that make them stay? Like, how was that experience?
No, they would come and try it, but then they wouldn't get back with me, or they would hit and miss, come every 3 months, come once a year. It was just, I was that person that was hit and miss. I was available. So they felt like they can call last minute and book is how they saw me.
So you kind of, I shouldn't use the word booty call when we're talking about massage, but it's like,
Right.
it's that last minute, I'm in pain. I need the Band-Aid fix. I need like, hey, I'm in a bind. Can you help me? And you're like, yes, I'm always here. So you were basically on standby rather than having a business, a predictable business model.
Right. I felt like I needed to help everyone. So it was like, if they call me and they need me, then I'll be there. I can be always available for that person in need in that moment.
And what was that creating for you? Like, what was the turnout of being available all the time and trying to be that person who's like, never says no?
I lost myself and I couldn't find a balance of where I could do for me as far as, I wanted to be healthier and working out and stuff. I just didn't know when that would be possible. And then with the kids, I felt like that would cut into their time into the afternoons, or they would come with me in the afternoons or on the weekends. So yeah, it just really cut into everything, my home life, my personal life.
So I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. I actually don't know this part of the story. So, but I remember having a business model myself where I was always available and it was inconsistent and I was always doing whatever it would take to get them in that day or that week in order to have a steady flow. Because there's nothing worse than white space, right? Oh, feels terrible. And so if it was not only happening in the business, it was actually happening with the kids and your personal care, your workout. So your workout was inconsistent. Your kids' routines was inconsistent. Sometimes they came to work with you. Sometimes you're pawning them off in order to grab that last minute client to make the $2,500 a month. Is that what it looked like?
Yes. It was.
How is this affecting your relationships?
It was very wishy-washy because I couldn't, with one friend, I was always available, but then the next friend, it was like, I couldn't be there. And then the next friend, it's like, I was there again, all over the place, even with friends, trying to have a relationship. It was just, I didn't have time for nobody. I didn't even have time for what I did have on my plate, much less adding more on. It felt really used overall. Because yes, I know now I was creating it, but I didn't see where I was allowing myself to be used in that way.
So it's just how it was. It's just the nature of the business to you.
Yeah.
That's what it is to be a massage therapist.
Yep.
Where did you get that idea from? Is that's how you were supposed to be doing it?
My parents always raised us they worked first. Work was always first. And they did the same with us. We helped them in order to pay our tuition at the Christian school. We would help clean the gyms on the weekends, after the basketball games, before church, after church. We were very much involved in all of that with them. So between staying busy with school, sports, cleaning, being very responsible for a lot of those things, then carried on into, adulthood. Once I had kids, I just kept moving in that direction of just putting everything on top of what you're already doing.
I actually love that. Like, there's a lot about, you know me well enough to know I do love the all of us being personally responsible, but I'm curious how that felt for you, that you were always available and you always were on top of your game and your doors were always open. And then you were still getting this inconsistency.
I felt like I put myself on this pedestal that I wasn't allowed to step off of. So from the outside, it looked like I had it all together. But in the inside and at home, I was very miserable. And I really didn't have no true connection to anyone because I wasn't truly myself for anyone. So I was, I guess you can say a chameleon, but I really don't think I fit in really well. I just kind of bounced around and looked like the person who's productive and had her shit together. And deep down, I really didn't feel like I did. I didn't feel like I was really doing for myself, because I kept leaving myself out. And so how come I have to keep giving to everyone, keep giving to everyone when I was doing it for, what I'm saying? Like, I see where I see it now, but then it was very alone. Like, I was very alone, and that I was just being used constantly rather than them seeing what I should be doing different. And them saying, oh, no, you're busy with the kids. Go ahead and take that time off. I was expecting them to do that for me, but I was available.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of dissonance between, like, I need to not look like I'm failing like I've got my shit together and that I'm doing really well, because then more people are going to want me. But then it wasn't real. It wasn't even real. So they actually can't find us when we're not being ourselves, when we are being fakes or pretending or hiding the shame. Then we're so disconnected from ourselves that we actually can't attract more clients.
Right.
But we keep doing the thing that we were told to do, right? Is to be available. So, okay, that's how it was.
Mhm.
And then you started doing some personal development work. We met on the path. You had already been doing some different things. You were starting to take note that, this is not how it's going down. Something's got to change for me, for my business, for my kids, for my relationship. So tell me a little bit about that. What was the awakening moment of not going to keep doing this anymore?
I think I had just been struggling for so long, feeling so heavy, and like no matter what I tried, different groups, if it was from online to in person, it just felt like I never had a true connection with anyone, much less myself. Like I still felt like I'm good around these people, but when I would go home, I was still like very alone. And I remember saying that out loud, and my daughter even said, "But Mama, we're here." And I'm like, why do I feel like I'm so alone, but yet I still have my little people with me? And like it just started clicking. I'm like, how come these people are like single or alone and they're just traveling the world and enjoying it? And I'm like, and I have everyone around. Like I have a good little family that's always there to support me and stuff, but I still felt so alone. So it's like, how, like, I don't know, I just saw people just really enjoying themselves, and I wanted what everybody else had. I didn't have it within myself. And I was just feeling like, I'm tired of this. I will do whatever it takes to do something different, because obviously this isn't working. And I'm tired of being angry, and I'm tired of my kids getting it. Like they were getting the worst part of me, of being angry and frustrated and not connected. I didn't even see them as little people with me. And so it was like, how can I value them in my life rather than waiting for the day that they're gone out of my life? And then I'm going to regret all that. And I didn't want to live in regret. I've heard a lot of like, people talking to me and telling me like how, try to take advantage of this time. They're so young. And I really do take that into heart, but I didn't know what to do with it. And so whenever I finally started hearing something different, like whenever you were talking at that CE class, I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't know what this is, but I need more of it, because I had been searching for it I've done moved away, hours away, looking for just any kind of connection. And then walking through this, I'm like, wait a minute, like this is empowerment on myself. This is me being able to be happy with me where I am. So it was just like, I don't know, just finally seeing something was different out there where I've been searching.
I'm curious what you heard. When you said, I heard that, like, I don't know if I know.
So it was like confidence. Like whenever you spoke, you were just confident in your words, in the way you held yourself, like posture wise, like you're sure of what you were saying. Like maybe, I don't know, it was just something about you. Like it was just the vibe that just came off that was just very, I don't want to say keep saying the word empowering, but it was very, I don't know, your openness. Like you were open, you were just, I really don't remember the words that you were saying. I just remember what I felt. And I just felt so safe. And I felt like there's something different out there. And I had been searching for so long, and I felt like it was just a knowing, like this is it. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So then you started listening to the podcast, you joined the free Facebook group. So tell me a little bit about that. What were you hearing that was like kind of sparking life in you, that there was more?
So starting with all of that, just kind of hearing, I think I started listening to a lot of different people in your group too, of what they were experiencing, and seeing that for them that they made a change from where they were, and then seeing where they were at now. I'm like, this can really work for me. Like seeing their progress and seeing their success stories, and just hearing more and more of them, the more I would dig in, get to meet more people. I would think I went to the event that year, and I still didn't know nobody. I just kind of sat back and was like a watcher. And I'm just watching all these people kind of like searching for the same thing, and hearing how much it's helped their relationships, and help them parenting and helping them physically. Like some people were losing weight and some people were just feeling more confident. And I'm just like, I want to be confident where what I want and not feel like I'm bothering somebody. I want to feel like, I can just that was my biggest thing, was wear what I want at the time. Because I was so like shame of who I was that I covered everything. And I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I just wanted to be me.
So compared to the life that you were living, what did what you want look like now that you started seeing other success stories? That's what this Believing Better series is all about, is clients who have been through this process, and you're now one of them. Like, how interesting is that, right?
Yeah.
So what you were feeling like covering yourself up and like having this shame that you actually weren't successful, you were just like kind of winging it and faking it so that people would think that you were. That's where you were coming from. And then you see all these success stories. The vision that you painted in your mind about being comfortable in your body and could you paint that vision for me? Could you tell me what it looked like back then? You're sitting at the retreat, you're watching all these people, and you're thinking, if they can do it.
They just seemed so happy. Like there was a light in them that it was like a dimmer, like those dimmer lights where you can adjust it from low to high. And I just felt like everything was just slightly just starting to get brighter and more clear. So for so long, I lived in such a fog, just basically like a very dark night, foggy night. And you don't even know where you don't know if you're going to hit a bump or if you're going to hit a curve or if there's a car in front of you stopped. And it's like, now, not only was that fog being lifted, but there was also light being presented. So I was able to see so much more clear that there was so much beauty around me. It wasn't so much darkness. And that watching them light up to see where they were versus where they were at now, that the hard work was worth it. And that, yes, they saw the dark days, but to see where they're at in the light now, to see where it could possibly keep going, I was like, it just gave me this hope and this fire inside of me that's like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this.
That is the difference between motivation and inspiration. You were inspired. Whereas we kind of are taught that we need to motivate people to get going. Like we've got to like cheer them on. We've got to, when we do this with our kids, right? Come on, we can do it. And it's actually not what works, because inspiration sparks the potential that's in us. Whereas motivation leads from the mind and tries to convince like the thought process and the brain and and it doesn't work because it doesn't light that spark up. So I love that you're saying that. And for those who are familiar with human design, Brittany is a 6'2". And when I pulled her chart, which the first time we met, I pulled a chart on everyone. And I was like, oh yeah, she's like in the middle phase. She's on the roof. How old are you now?
I'm 31.
31. So she was like right at Saturn return. So whenever we met, which we all know that between 28 and 32, especially for a 6-line being, there is a huge transformation. There is like a breaking of something, a change of something that happens between 28 and 32. And so I'm grateful to be a part of your process as you moved through that. And it's really interesting that we find wherever we need to be. Like, what if we could just trust that we always find where we need to be for the next, even though we don't know what it looks like? Because looking back, you could probably see that. But when you were in it, is it almost like you had like a flashlight, like just kind of seeing little bits and then all of a sudden the lights are on? How would you describe it?
Yeah, it was more like just always trying to find the next puzzle piece, but you have the whole wrong box. Like you didn't even have the right pieces to that puzzle. So it was like you're constantly looking through all these boxes for the puzzle pieces. And it's like, that's not even what works for you. Like I was always looking for someone else's life to mimic, or someone else's method to do, or someone else's modalities to adapt or to adopt. And so it's like finally whenever they're like, no, Brittany, here's your box, here's your puzzle. And it's like, oh, I really like these colors. It just started making sense and putting it together. It just became fun rather than, oh my God, I can't even stand these color palette. Like, oh my God, it's all black and white. It was just, I don't know, it just seems more fun now. Like, it's weird, like me even talking about my life now. Like, I've been straightening my hair forever. I couldn't wait for the day to have straight hair. And now just even recently, I'm trying to like embrace it. And I'm like, I freaking love it. Like it's just like a switch. I'm like, what is this? Like I hated my hair forever. I hated me. And it's like now, especially in human design, learning more about me, not just because, okay, cool, I'm gonna adopt it. It was exactly what I had been battling with for so long and trying to get rid of because it didn't fit in everyone else's boxes. And so like now being able to have this box and it's mine and I get to put it together and then display it or just keep it on the desk, whatever I was wanting to do with it, there was no right or wrong anymore. And it was just now life is funner.
I felt that way when I found human design too. It was like I suddenly had a permission slip to be who I was. Whereas before I was doing the same as you. I was trying to like fit somewhere, be understood, like I'll do anything. Just tell me how I need to behave. Tell me what to say. Tell me what I should be doing. Like, and so I would look at someone else, like what you were doing in the business and trying and like doing this facade. And it feels terrible. It feels like death. Like it's hell. It feels like hell. Like that's got to be hell on earth, where it's like there's no, or a lack of acceptance of the variation, of the differentiality, of the individualism, right?
Yeah.
Like the not having permission to be what was natural. And as a 6'2", like it is all about being natural. It's the role model who's having a lot of experience and being like, I'm off the roof now. That'll be so you've got a few years of discovery, of learning, which you're in the integrative coach, life coach program right now. And you are learning that. And that's what happens. So it's like the first, you just have a lot of experience. And then you're like, I'm getting the hell out of here. And you go up the stairs. And then you're like on the roof, just watching and researching and learning. And I need to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. And I need to come up with all the answers and the solutions. And I create systems and like make sure that the world is taken care of. The humans, right? It's like have the tools. That's what, do you feel that? Like I've got to go gather these tools and figure out this way?
Yeah. It's of course we always wish we knew what we knew then or what we know now, but it's like allowing myself to have the experiences and now going to collect the data. It's almost like it's not as urgent to get it all. Like I was always so ready to heal someone else because I was hurting. Like I was like, I need to know how the brain works. I need to know. I started researching all these things because I'm like, I feel like I'm going crazy. And so I'm gonna help someone else from going crazy. I didn't even know how to do it yet. And I was ready to just serve someone else because this burning passion was inside of me rather than just kind of sitting in the lazy river and just let it take me. It's really rocky. It's really rough, but just accumulating all of that stuff to be able to carry it over, especially now that where I'm at and I'm kind of don't feel that urgency anymore. I still have that burning passion, but now I know that it gets sloppy when you get out of alignment or you're trying to do it too fast. It's like a paint job. Like if you're trying to paint your walls, you're going to splatter that stuff everywhere. It's on the floor and everything. But if you can take your time and actually do a good job, it looks better. You're going to get paid more. It's just to me, that's just what it envision, what I can see as far as not being so sloppy.
Yeah. What that feels like for me when you say that is the difference between following strategy and authority and allowing the mind to lead. Because the mind is where all that conditioning is coming from and it's looking and it's trying to figure out and it's like super busy doing a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yes.
Whereas when you can like put the mind in the back seat, instead of letting it drive, put it in the back seat, allow it to have a little hissy fit back there. That's what this week's podcast is about. And then it's like, okay, now I am the vehicle, I am the car, but my mind doesn't get to lead it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what reminds me of when you're describing that. It requires a very deep trust.
Oh yeah. Like, cause I didn't trust anything I said or did because I knew somebody was doing it better than me and they had their stuff together and I didn't. So it was constantly trying to keep up, constantly trying to stay in the game. And I'm like, now I really don't even feel like there could be a game, but it doesn't feel like there's so much of an involvement to make sure everyone's watching, making sure everyone's on cue, making sure I was controlling everything and it was exhausting because nobody was doing what they were supposed to do. And if they would have just listened to me, but I can't change anyone. And that has been so nice to kind of take that off my shoulders, because I carried it not for just my clients, but for my family, for my kids, for my boyfriend, for my parents, my brother, like everyone. I controlled every situation, which then made it more hectic. But in my mind, it was controlling and it was working.
Yeah, the mind is so excited when it thinks it can control something.
Yeah.
So let's get, so that's where, like, that's where you were. So then you found Self-Healing Masters, you joined Self-Healing Masters, which is a membership for practicing being your authentic self. Like we use Gene Keys, human design, and an integrative approach to access the potential that's already inside of you. And then this is the place to practice and to get coaching. How has that changed things on your path? Because that was your first step, is joining Self-Healing Masters.
Yeah. So once I joined, I really didn't know what I was joining. I was just like, I'm in. And so once I started really listening in, you know, they had the calls and stuff. And I think at the time it was just the Wednesdays. And I would get on, I would listen, but I was also like so tired of so much that I just started like opening up almost immediately. But I really thought my story was going to stand out from everyone else's. Like I really thought I was going to be the one that's like, wow, this is a bit much. She's got a lot going on. And I don't know, so I'd always prevent any problem. And I really got addicted to the whole like aha moments. And then I remember there was this one point where it was just kind of like, you know, because I was still searching and like just always reaching out, but not really honing in on anything yet. And then all of a sudden it's like, I forget who it was that was like, just be. And I'm like, no, but I got a problem to solve. And they're like, no, just be. And so it's like someone holding that space for me was like, hey, you in your drama, you in your stuff. Let's go ahead and get out of this, because you're now just swimming in it. And it was kind of like, you're right. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it was like freeing to finally say, oh, I don't need to sit in this. And I knew I didn't want to. So to have a space and a container, not only the coach, but to have like the Facebook group to keep going back to, and to have, you know, if you were to celebrate something, or if you were in the middle of something, needed somewhere just to post. I remember so many times like writing something out, and then I'm like, oh my God, this sounds really dramatic. Like this is a lot of drama on one thing, but to have somewhere safe to put that, and no one judging back on like, oh, she's a little bit out there. Like we can't, you know, have her in our prayer team. We can't, you know, like it was kind of like I was able to just say what I had to say and then not be judged by it. And it's like, okay, is that really how you want to feel? And I'm like, well, no. Like, okay, well, what can we do? And it was like, this is way less abrupt than what I was expecting. So it was just a really safe, it took time, but it was a really safe space to start opening up, and I don't know, just getting to be myself authentically and learn more about myself, and being okay with the way I do things. Like I'm a multi-passionate, and now I'm trying to go into the role model stage. I'm just like, it was heavy at first, but then now it's like, look where you've come from. You're doing so good. And it's like, I don't know, I'm just enjoying it more. Like it's been that space.
So that's the personal part. What about the business part? Because that's, you joined eSchool and you want stability. So you had stability in your life that was happening in your relationships. And then you joined eSchool so that you can make more money, help more people, create more impact. So how has that changed what's going on in your business? So you started off inconsistently, a lot of white space, pretending like you were successful, making $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Where are you now?
So I now am hitting between 5,000 and 6,000. I haven't hit the 6 yet, but between 46 and 56, you can say. And I actually don't have as much white space of even openings. I am more honed in on the time and the times that I would like to work, and really staying true to that. Like rather than always saying yes, really, these are the times I have open, and sticking to it, I have been able to be more predictable and more demand of it. Like my space, like people understand that time is limited on my, you know, spots are limited. So they really, you know, I have way less no shows. I have way less cancellations. And I played with my time a lot at first, because I was like trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I still wanted to work out. So now, you know, I get to work out in the mornings, then go to work my hours. I set up, you know, babysitter on certain days and stuck to it, rather than, well, if I don't have nobody, I'll go in. No, I stuck to it. This is what time they pick them up. This is what time I get home. And I fill up my book to that spot. And until it's filled up, I am out there trying to, fill it up. And it's working tremendously.
Mm-hmm. So what I hear you saying is that you've changed your schedule, you've
Mhm.
doubled your income, and you have less no-shows, less cancellations. You have time to work out. You're with your kids after school and in their activities, and
Mhm.
more. You didn't say this, but how about your partner, your relationship?
Yeah, no, with us, like it has really even helped me with him because I don't feel so stretched thin that he's no longer on the back burner, or just existing. And so we've been able to, like this past weekend, we went and did something for us this weekend, had, the kids set up. Like I don't feel so like out of time to where I'm like, I'm gonna try to fit him in. Like now I can have him in, and he's also being inspired to go out on his own, even with work. And it's just, I'm really starting to enjoy this part. Like we really never had much of a connection, like a true connection before. And now, like, cause he'll even ask me sometimes, like, whenever he was spinning, like he comes to me now. And so whenever I say something, it's not like I'm demanding of him or telling him what to do. Like I now come from a different position of what if, I wonder what, and he's just kind of like, it lets him think. And so I'm not controlling it. And it's really allowed him to be himself because I want to be myself, right? And I feel like we're able to just be ourselves around each other and have more fun and laughter. It's not so serious all the time. And I don't know, it just feels a lot lighter in the relationship as well. It was heavy at first because we were totally in it for the wrong reasons. And now I'm not always draining from him. Like I was always wanting so much attention from him because I felt like he was giving to everyone else but me. And then I was doing the same thing. So we were both super separated, a huge wedge between us.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a partnership now that is helping with personal development from both sides. And
Yeah.
that within itself, just the intimacy, allowing someone to see into you and not trying to change them and trying to make them wrong and trying to make them better and instead of like, hey, you need to grow and we need to improve you. It's like, hey, do you want to do this together? Like, because we've got, kids here and we've got my job, we've got you wanting to start your own job, and we're actually on the same team now.
Mhm. Well, it's no longer like telling him what he should do to make it work for us. It was literally just like stepping back, and I would set my schedule. So he would always, he would say like, well, when I go on my own, like it's gonna get busy. I said, okay, but we still have things, like I still have events that I go to. I still like to have off on the weekends. And, there's some evenings that I would like for you to get home earlier than me. So to relieve your parents or whatever. That way we can have this. And he was like, yeah. But before I wouldn't have said anything. And I'd just been mad for the first time. He'd have like not been ready for I'd have set him up for failure. Where now, like I have a clear communication with him. And even though if he gets upset or he takes it wrong, we've been doing it over and over for so long now, he doesn't take it that way anymore. He just sees it as, okay, well, he's coming to me with what he's wanting to do. So can I. I can come to him and say, hey, I'm also a business owner who loves to work and be there for my clients. And I have these set hours. I'm not changing that now because you're into your business. Let's still make it work for us. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. It's communication, but it was how I was doing it before. I was very straightforward and like, no, you need to take off. Here's the dates. And, enough's enough. Why do you keep doing this to me? Like I always do for everyone and you never do, like all the poor things, poor thing, all the things I was
Miss Bossy Pants, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you, like between the intimacy, the personal development, the communication, and actually like we're talking about you setting your schedule, having less no-shows, less cancellations, being with your kids when they're off of school, being at all of their activities, and then having time to take off and be with your partner, like that quality time. Plus you still taking care of your personal demands and needs, which is the personal growth and the community and traveling. And so how's that feel? Were you doing any of that before? Would you go to things? Would you want to talk a little bit about that? How that's played an impact into this?
Yeah, I would try to do things, but like even with my church, I went through like some class and then it had like an event that weekend. I remember it was like maybe $80 or something for the ticket for the weekend. And I was like, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Who's going to watch the kids? No one's going to, I mean, I gave all the excuses. I didn't go. Ended up not, I bailed ship and jumped ship and I didn't go to the event. And I thought it was crazy. Like, how do these mamas just get to take off and go with their kids? I mean, without their kids and their partners. And they, I was just making drama in my head of how everyone else had it and was able to go. But no, I always wanted to go back and visit some friends in Florida, and I never had time to do that or the money. So I had to take my kids with me. And I mean, I had a whole partner with me. And I could have left him with him and planned ahead, and I just didn't. No.
So how has that played into where you are today? Like being able to do the retreats, the live business events, the boot camps. Do you think that that's played a part in this, being with other people who were doing?
Yeah, because every single like time we've had an event, I always get excited to go, but I always get nervous leaving leaving the kids with my boyfriend and stuff, just because what mama doesn't think it through. Because of course I can do it better in my mind. And I don't know, like especially this last time, really like seeing how he was able to handle a situation, even though I was ready to like solve the problem immediately. And I was like, nope, they have to both experience this. And somehow they both survived all weekend and everyone was happy, and ended up being a good experience for me and allowing me to see to where I can trust him, where I didn't realize I didn't have the trust. And just being around the people, like, because I mean, I was voicing this with the group of ladies I was with, and they're like, he's got a girl. And, like, and they just talked about their experiences. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess they'll figure it out. And I mean, I remember I was like hot, like I was red all the way down. And they're like just supporting me, and they're validating my feelings that yes, it is very hard to do it. And I understand where you're coming from. And it's like now, like it just kind of passed. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I had these people with me. So glad.
And where are you today? So you've had these last, I think it's 3 years, you said, right? It's over 2.
Yeah.
These last 3 years. And now you see like the impact that it can make, the changing the trajectory of your family, the generation, like just kind of stopping some of the old patterns and limiting beliefs so that your kids can have access to more. Is that where you are now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that plants a seed for, I wish more people knew about this.
Yeah. I really just have to slow myself down on it, because there's so many times I'm like, they need to know all the things, and I need to see that there's something here and there's so much more. But I think just having my excitement on my face, it's just drawing people in rather than me trying to like go out there and like grabbing people like alms for the poor, like come, and it's like, now it's like, I don't know, it just, I attract it, and I didn't think that was even possible until it started just happening, because I started trusting, and it's way easier and it's a lot less weight on my shoulders because I don't have to do anything really. I just get to be myself and show up as me, and people who knew me before versus now, like they're looking at me like, something's different. Like, you look so good. You have a light about you. And I'm like, I'm trying, it's just different. It's just
Yeah.
fun.
I remember whenever it was like that urgency in myself, but also in you, with like almost feeling like we had to save people. Like we have to, they have to know this. They have to get out of this. It's like, there's no other way. And that feels terrible in the body. And
there's just so many to save.
Yeah. And it's really hard to break that. And I mean, I experienced it for years. And when the wounded parts are healed in us, the urgency leaves. And that's the beauty, is really understanding the wounded healer paradigm, that we are desperate and needy and gropey and convincing when we need it, but we can't see it. So beautiful work that you've actually like paused and you did that work for yourself. So now you can just be the example. And if someone wants it, they can ask for it, and then you can respond, which is you being in strategy and authority.
Yeah. Yeah, feels good.
Feels good. How
Yeah.
is that affecting your relationship with clients, kids, and partner, being in that space instead of the controlling?
Well, I feel like it's about them now when I'm with them rather than about me. Like I really felt like I was always sharing my problems or sharing my past, issues or things that I went through, like poor me, woe is me. But here I am. I'm, looking successful and I got my own business and, I'm a good mama. I have both my kids and like I don't know, it was just that always, I don't know, I felt like, like they say the wounded healer, I always just like imagine myself like just bleeding all over everyone else. And I'm not even healed. And they feel that. Like they're not going to tell you a lot of times, or they just don't come back. But like I feel like they're more family now. And it's like they're here for me. And I'm able to take my, knowing of how I can help them. And I'm way more confident and I have helped way more people having longer, better results because like now I'm able to say, I know you're looking for this, but I really can see where this can benefit you. And this is going to help so much. And if it doesn't, it's not something you like, we can totally go back. Everyone has switched. Everyone has like, oh no, I'm in your hands, and it feels really good to have confidence in myself to do that because I do know I can help people with what I have. And before it was just kind of like I can help people with what they think they want. And I don't know, it just feels better, especially my clients. And then with my kids, like I'm able to like rather than them being mad and them messing up my day, I can hold my emotions together and not take things so personal and be there for them because they're just having a really crappy day. Like they just can't see it forward like I can see it. Or even with my boyfriend, like there's a lot of things that are going on with him. It's scarcity and different things like that. And it's like I can understand where he's coming from and just hold the space for him. And rather than always like, oh, here we are with another problem with your stuff and your stuff. And then, oh, you got a bad day. Oh, you're hurting, huh? Like I'm not hurting. And it was always about me.
Love it. So last question is, so where do you see yourself now? Like, what is your future looking like? What are you, like, we know where you were, and now you're in this calm, confident state, which is the thing that you saw that inspired you, and you've now gotten. What now? So you still have your massage business, you're in coach training. What do you see for yourself?
I see myself, it's kind of hard. I haven't really put a picture on it because it's like I'm integrating the coaching in with my massaging. And like I always felt like I said, like my clients were like a family member or like they're close to my heart now. And to know that not only can I like fix the external, but I can give them an option or even lead them to having some self like inner things that help them just trust themselves and trust and listen to their body, where they can come in and have the knowledge as far as like I know my neck and shoulders are so tight, like I feel like there's just so much on my shoulders, and like rather than a massage, maybe they want to sit and talk about it and get that out rather than having that safe place, not just in my office but just with me. And like I just want to do the same for my kids, where I'm the safe parent that they can come to when things are rough. I mean, they're getting older and it gets harder and it gets tougher, and I just want to be able to still hold that space for them and just stay in that calm state. I always wanted to be the nurturing mama because I didn't feel like I was always just so mad and angry, where now I feel like I can be the nurturing mom and nurture their feelings and their existence and who they are. And I don't know, just be the container for clients, for my kids, for my boyfriend. And I don't know, just enjoy the life, enjoy it so much more than I ever have.
And let the finances come in, right? Instead of like
they're
them.
already coming in.
So good. Yeah. So, and you're helping moms get fit and prioritize time so that they can be better parents, better business owners, better employees. Is that correct? Better partners?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we will link how they can contact you below, and you'll be able to share this. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to express or share about what you're doing, where you've been, maybe what you wanted to hear? Anything that we missed?
Nothing that's really popping up right now. I think we covered quite a bit, some different things.
You're so calm.
I
So
am, it's
calm.
weird.
Does it still feel weird? Are you still trying to acclimate to this? Like, what is this? Why am I not freaking out? Why? Like, I remember.
Yeah. Like I feel like sometimes like I'll go to like freak out and I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? And so then I'll calm down, but I'm like, this okay, what do I do then? Like it's weird. Yeah, it's still very weird.
Yeah, it's so much lighter and
Mhm.
funner, as you said. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we'll put the link below. So if you want to contact Brittany, if you are a mom that has been struggling to prioritize your time and your health so that you can be personally responsible, happier, not so much trying to control everyone and everything else.
Thanks for listening to this episode of More Than Mindset.